Young-joon shows up at Miso's doorstep, saying that if she doesn't want to stay at his house so he can protect her from bad dreams, then he'll just come stay with her for a few days instead. She stammers that her apartment is too tiny and only has one bed, but he calmly reminds her that she already said no when he offered to let her stay at his place, which has lots of rooms and plenty of space. He pushes his way in and starts putting his things away. He notes that she has plenty of space for his things because she doesn't have much, and she tells him that she spent her money to pay off her family debts, not go shopping. At one point he knocks something off her vanity, and they both reach for it at the same time, leading to a brief, uncomfortable moment where they accidentally get too close. Young-joon stands very close to Miso and tells her that the reason he's here tonight is just to stay near her so she can sleep more peacefully. She visibly relaxes, and he gives her a gift of fancy bath salts for soaking her feet. They head to the bathroom to soak their feet and relax, but Miso doesn't have a bathtub, so it's nothing like the romantic moment Young-joon pictured. When they finish, they go back out to the living room and decide it's bedtime. Miso climbs under the covers, and she's startled when Young-joon climbs in beside her. Young-joon kindly offers her the privilege of his arm as a pillow, but she can't relax, so she raises the head of the bed and turns on the TV, to Young-joon's surprise. When they end up on the sexy kissing scene from Oh Hae-young again, Miso quickly switches to the soccer game. Young-joon asks if she's uncomfortable sharing the bed, and she admits she doesn't think she can sleep like this. He suggests a glass of wine to relax them, so they head up to the roof together. Young-joon was thoughtful enough to bring a bottle of wine, but he didn't bring a wine key, and Miso doesn't own one. She says she once saw a trick, and she borrows Young-joon's shoe, fits the base of the wine bottle inside, and smacks the sole against the wall. The cork doesn't pop like it's supposed to, and Young-joon dryly points out, "Did you know that's a 200,000 won bottle of wine?" They're called downstairs when a neighbor starts loudly yelling Young-joon's license plate number. He's parked in her space, and she notices his expensive car and assumes he lives there, then gives him a lecture about living within his means. She says her own son is humble and just managed to get a job at Yumyung Group, and Young-joon lets her know that it's his company, only to be accused of being drunk. Annoyed, Miso decides Young-joon was right from the start, they'd both be better off at his house. On the way, Young-joon asks if she thinks he's too fussy, and her long silence answers the question. He admits that the thought of her going through what he did after their shared trauma worries him, and she says she understands, which is why she's going with him to his place. Young-joon's house also has the convenience of a guest room, which Miso takes advantage of, much to Young-joon's disappointment. But as soon as she tucks herself in, she starts to feel a bit scared again. She turns on the light suddenly and gets terribly frightened when she sees a reflection of Young-joon nearby. He says he feels unsettled when he can't see her and asks if he can sleep next to her to make sure she's okay. He climbs into bed, assuring her that he's not thinking about anything except being worried about her. But the fact that they're in bed together makes them both unsure of what to say to get past the awkward moment. Thinking hard for an idea, Young-joon suddenly blurts out, "Do you want me to sing a lullaby?" He looks shocked and embarrassed at what he just said. Desperate for something, anything, to ease the awkwardness, Miso agrees, and luckily for both of them, Young-joon has a really sweet voice. His singing grows stronger as the words of the song remind him of how he's fallen for Miso. It works, and Miso falls asleep. Young-joon spends a quiet minute just looking at her and gently stroking her hair, then he gives her forehead a soft kiss. She snuggles into his chest sleepily, wrapping an arm around him, while the poor guy doesn't get a single wink of sleep all night. By the time Miso wakes up, his nerves are completely shot, and he tells her he can't guarantee tonight. He stumbles out of the room, followed by a mischievous little devil chuckling at the thought of another night with Miso. He sends the naughty little devil off to bother her. Miso gets ready for the day, wondering why Young-joon said he can't guarantee tonight. Suddenly the cheeky little devil pops up, and she realizes what he meant by that. She tells it to go away, because she definitely doesn't have any indecent thoughts like that. She tries to make an omelette for Young-joon to thank him for taking care of her, but it falls apart. He teases her for repaying kindness with disaster, but he insists on eating it since she made it. He doesn't drink the coffee when he notices a crack in the cup, and Miso remembers his superstition that it means something bad will happen today. He decides to be careful today, but Miso falls off her heel as they're leaving for work. She says she didn't twist her ankle, but she did scratch her heel, which is another bad superstitious sign. They both complain about their bad luck omens while carpooling to work with Yoshik and Cheol. Yoshik says he doesn't believe in such things because he saw a crow, cracked his cup, and scratched his heel before work, but he got good news that their pharmaceutical department reported a new medicine development going well. Young-joon replies, "That's because I'm competent." Young-joon tells Yoshik to cancel his dinner plans because a schoolmate of theirs named Saki is having surgery for lung cancer, and he wants to visit him. Yoshik advises everyone to take care of their health like he does, and when Young-joon says he's too obsessive about it, he says it's better than dying from health problems. Then he makes himself sad thinking about losing people he cares about, which reminds him of seeing his ex-wife yesterday. He tells them about running into Seojin and accusing her of having a new boyfriend, when it was just her cousin, wailing that he probably ruined his last chance to make up with her. She calls him out of the blue, and when he answers, Seojin says she's been feeling bad about their fight. She asks if he was at their restaurant because he missed her, and he admits he was hoping to see her. Seojin asks if he has time tonight for drinks, and he nearly bursts into happy tears as he says yes. He asks if they can meet later since he has to go to the hospital because Saki is in critical condition. Then he backpedals hard, realizing too late that Saki means penis, and now it sounds like he was talking about some kind of dysfunction. But it's too late, Seojin has already hung up. Yoshik wonders which omen jinxed him, the crow, the cracked mug, or his heel, and Young-joon and Miso say in unison, all of them. Yoshik tells them to be good to each other so they don't end up regretting anything when it's too late. At the office, Miso brings Young-joon his schedule for the week, but he wants to talk about what Yoshik said about not losing each other. He says he's been afraid she'll leave him, because you would regret it so much. He says she should be good to him, and she grits her teeth and says they should be good to each other. Jia is in a planners meeting, and she's told to shred some confidential papers afterward. While distracted by a call from a friend, she accidentally shreds her meeting notes, and Nam finds her wailing over the shredder. He tells her to calm down, remembering that she handwrote the notes because the manager doesn't like typing sounds. He says they just need to find any shreds with handwriting on them, and helps her piece the notes back together. Jia admits that she often makes mistakes because she's intimidated by Miso's competence, and she thanks Nam for always helping her. After he leaves, she decides she gets why he's so popular. Dessert is caramel cake, and Miso tells Young-joon that caramel has been meaningful to her ever since he gave her his last caramel, because it reminds her of his kindness. She nervously asks him why he changed his name, and how Sagyeon came to believe he was the one who was kidnapped. Young-joon goes quiet, so she says she can wait until he's ready to talk about it. Sarah and Young-ok gossip about a new office couple, and Sarah complains that her superhero isn't talking to her. When Sarah arrives at the office, Cheol gives her the cutest smile, but she's feeling grumpy. To hide it, she pretends that a spam text she received is from some guy who keeps asking her out. Cheol looks worried, and Sarah says loudly that if only someone would confess to her, she wouldn't have to deal with annoying guys anymore. She snaps at Cheol for drinking his soda right then, upset that he doesn't seem bothered at all, and he assumes she's just thirsty. When she leaves the office, he runs up with a soda, handing it to her like it's a life-saving cure. He tells her dramatically to drink it all herself, then runs away and watches from around the corner as she drinks. With every gulp, the soda level goes down to reveal that Cheol has written on the bottle, "Miss Bong. You're cute. Do you want to date me?" Sarah lets out a surprised burp, then notices him watching her with hope in his eyes, and smiles sweetly at him. Miso takes Young-joon shopping, saying there's something they need, and he grins happily as she drags him around by the wrist. She buys a pair of matching coffee mugs to replace the one she cracked, and the saleswoman mistakes them for a couple. She offers to show them a dining set popular with newlyweds, and Young-joon is all, "We'll take it." Miso says no, and he looks at her like she just took away his lollipop. She tells him it's not necessary, but he wants to know why, raising his voice as he says they're pretty much living together now. Miso shoots him a sharp look, and he decides that being scolded by her actually isn't so bad. He thinks about her jinx from scratching her heel and comes up with some possible solutions. First, he could require all employees to wear running shoes. Second, he could buy her another car so she won't have to walk to work. But Miso likes the third idea best, buying her a new pair of shoes, which he promises will only bring them good luck. When they get back to work, Jia is frantic because Young-joon's parents have shown up unexpectedly. Young-joon goes in to talk to them, and Miso asks Jia to attend her afternoon meeting so she can stay nearby. Young-joon's parents are there to tell him that they know he didn't actually lose his memories of the kidnapping. Dad sighs, saying that Young-joon was always so mature and thoughtful, so he should have questioned things more. He then asks Young-joon to explain why he pretended not to remember. Instead of answering, Young-joon remembers the day before his kidnapping, when Seogyeon took him to an area claiming there was an amusement park there. Young-joon had been thirsty, so Seogyeon offered to go get something to drink and told him to wait. He didn't come back for a long time, and Auntie found Young-joon all alone and asked him to help carry her suitcase home. Seogyeon seems to be deep in a depressive state as he tells the family butler to move everything from his room to Young-joon's room, since that was originally Young-joon's room. He asks the butler, "You've known everything, haven't you? You've worked for our family since I was little." He remembers when Young-joon disappeared, and how their father had yelled at him to tell them what happened. After Young-joon escaped, Seogyeon had seen the bandages on his ankles and cried, knowing his brother would be scarred for life. Young-joon tells his parents that when he came home from the hospital, he found Seogyeon in his room, wearing his clothes. Seogyeon had insisted it was his room and his clothes and had already convinced himself he was the one kidnapped, all because Young-joon had left him alone. He'd screamed and thrown things, and the doctors had told their parents that Seogyeon had switched identities with Young-joon out of deep guilt and showed aggression because he believed everyone was lying to him. Young-joon says that at first, he was confused, but then he grew resentful and angry, knowing he was the one who had actually lived through the nightmare. He says he was hurt and traumatized, and it felt unfair that Seogyeon acted like the victim and blamed him. Their fighting became worse and worse. Then one day, Young-joon overheard their parents talking about sending Seogyeon to a psychiatric hospital, worried Young-joon wouldn't heal while being attacked like that. Their mother had cried, saying she wanted to die, and to Young-joon, who now truly knew what death looked and sounded like, that was unthinkable. So he faked a faint and pretended to lose his memories of the kidnapping, letting Seogyeon claim the role of the victim. Once Young-joon forgot, the tension in the family eased. Young-joon says that was the only thing he could think of to keep everyone in the family alive. His mom blames herself and apologizes for saying things that made him feel like he had to do that. She says that even though Seogyeon believed he was the one kidnapped, he hadn't actually gone through it, so they thought it would be better if Young-joon could forget his trauma and support the brother who hadn't truly suffered. She feels guilty for not fixing things back then, and their father apologizes for leaving the burden on Young-joon alone. They're all in tears when Young-joon tells them he understands, and mom gently tells him it's okay to admit that it's been lonely. Young-joon finally breaks down, sobbing, and from her desk, where she can see him, Miso quietly cries too. By the time Young-joon's parents leave, Miso has pulled herself together, and mom stops to talk to her. She asks Miso to take care of Young-joonie with a knowing smile, and Miso tells her not to worry. She goes in to sit with Young-joon. He doesn't say a word, but he smiles at her with deep gratitude. Young-joon is still quiet on the drive home after work, and he doesn't even answer Miso's joke that she could make him another omelette for dinner. He had asked mom about Seogyeon, and found out that he was planning to go back to France and probably wouldn't be back for a long time. He suddenly drives to his parents' house and finds Seogyeon packing. He asks if Seogyeon is running away again. Seogyeon says Young-joon must think he's weak and pathetic for doing something so proud and arrogant back then, and says Young-joon should have trusted him to get through it. Seogyeon yells that because Young-joon pretended to lose his memories, he spent his life hating his little brother and feeling sorry for himself. Young-joon simply says he's sorry, and that he thought everything would be okay if he forgot everything and lived under a different name, because his own name, so close to Seogyeon's, only confused his brother more. But he says that today he saw how their mother has lived with the guilt, and he realized it would have been better if he had told the truth. He says they could have faced it, even if it was hard, because they're family. He admits he was proud and took away Seogyeon's chance to fix things, and apologizes again. Seogyeon asks how Young-joon can forgive him for hurting him for so many years. Young-joon admits it's been painful, but only because he was too traumatized. He says he was never hurt because of Seogyeon, so there is nothing to forgive, and he tells Seogyeon to forgive himself and be free. He starts to leave, and Seogyeon calls after him, crying, "I'm sorry. Back then, I had to be someone else. That was the only way I could survive." Young-joon takes Miso home, and they share a glass of wine after dinner. He tells her it feels good to have all the secrets out in the open, and she agrees that being honest is always best. He asks if she really thinks so, and when she nods, he asks if he can be honest about how he is feeling now. He gently kisses her, pushing her back onto the couch until she is lying down. He leans back and says, "I don't want to waste this night." He looks at Miso with a question in his eyes, and reading her answer on her face, he slowly untees her blouse.